Welcome to another episode of Prostyle Podcast. And it's very seldom that you link up with somebody that you played against in college. This guy, a Gamecock, University of South Carolina, cornerback, first round draft pick of the Cincinnati Bengals in 2006. You know, we had our battles when I was at Vanderbilt, but please welcome my man, two-time Pro Bowler, All-Pro, my guy, Johnathan Joseph. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing good, my man. I'm glad to be on, man.
Hey, man. I had to link up with you, man. You know what I mean? Like, just to continue to see your success in the NFL, the things you're doing around the Houston community. You know, I'm up here in the Woodlands area, so just to see you doing your thing, man, is really beautiful because, you know, as I mentioned, watching you at South Carolina, Coach Simpson, my man Bennett, like you guys were, you know, y'all were a tag team back there. Y'all had a really good secondary. And when we played y'all at Vandy, like I had to bring it. And so how did you end up at South Carolina?
Oh, man, it's crazy, man. Actually, coming out of high school, didn't have really many big-time schools on me, you
Wow.
know, from a grade standpoint, you know. So, you know, I had to go to JUCO route. And, you know, Bryce Sire was the recruiting guy from Coffeyville back at the time.
Yeah.
And he actually came down to the Shrine Bowl, which I know you're familiar with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he came down to the Shrine Bowl, and, you know, all the big-name players out there, Ricardo Hurley, Tim Jennings. You know, Tim Jennings actually got his scholarship right the day before signing day.
Oh, wow.
So there's a lot of big names out there. Fred Bennett played offense back then. He wasn't even on defense. Man, coming out there just watching all those guys and competing with them. And, you know, I'm looking around. I'm like, man, I can fit in right in with these guys, you know. But at the same time, I didn't have all them big schools come calling me and everything.
Right.
So, you know, right around that time, I got back done with the All-Star game. And then when I got back to school, my coach come and tell me, hey, man, you know, there's a guy I want to talk to you from Coffeyville Community College. They want to offer you a scholarship. So I'm like, huh? Man, this, you know, I ain't had nobody step up to the plate. You know, I had a couple people talking, and you know how that process goes.
Yeah.
Nobody ain't making it official yet.
Right.
So, you know, he came in hard, and then what made it easier for me, you know, he came in after my cousin, R.Q. Whitlock, who played Rock Hill High, who was also in the Shrine Bowl with me.
Yeah.
So, man, I'm like, Kansas, man, I never been to Kansas, never went on a college visit or nothing. So I'm like, man, we're going to see if we can make this work. You know, me and my mama, we thought about it. We prayed about it. I made a decision to go out there. I never forget it. I hopped on a bus for 34 hours, bro.
Wow.
Never visited this place or nothing. Got dropped off at a Midas shop.
That is insane. 34-hour bus trip and you get dropped off at a Midas shop.
With no cell phone back then. All we got is calling cards, you know what I mean?
Wow.
So, man, I'm like, it was a rough start to it, but it was all part of the process.
Yeah.
And I couldn't see where I was at today, you know. I couldn't see the vision or nothing.
Right.
But, you know, once we got to Coffeyville, man, they already had an established program. You know, guys like Travis Fisher and a lot of those guys, Leonard Little, those guys that came before me to make the program the way it was. They had the big names. So, you know, when I got there, you know, the same type of process like it was in the Shrine Bowl. All these big name guys out there, a lot of guys that were placed by Division I schools. And, you know, I'm looking at myself like, man, I'm not, you know, I don't have any D1 offers. I'm going to have to grind it out and work. And it was crazy because, you know, now you look at the Last Chance U on the JUCO show out there in Kansas at Independence. You know, it's no in-state or out-of-state rule back when I was playing, though. It was a 55-man team, 43 guys from Kansas, 12 guys from anywhere else. And when I got there, we had about 85 out-of-state guys fighting for them 12 spots.
Wow.
And I got there, we had Darryl Shropshire, who played at South Carolina with me, who got drafted to the Falcons, Deshaun Gosen, Reggie Nelson.
Wow.
Damian Nash, you know, rest in peace to Damian Nash, running back from Missouri, got drafted to the Broncos that passed away. Brandon Jacobs, man, the list just go on. We had so many guys out there.
Crazy.
And the competition level.
Like you just named so many first-round draft picks, so many draft picks in general. And then, you know, just to think of the success that these guys had, you know, at that next level in college, right? So this is JUCO. Then those guys, Reggie Nelson goes to Florida, then ends up being a first-round pick. I mean, you got Brandon Jacobs, Coffeyville, goes to Auburn, and then become, a third, fourth-round pick.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy.
Paul Soliai, the big, you know, Paul Soliai played offensive tackle for us, but he ended up playing 11 years, you know, in the NFL for a D tackle.
Wow.
Got drafted, down to the Dolphins and things. And it was just, like a big old close-knit group once I got there, man. You had guys from California, Paul Soliak came straight over from America Samoa. You had guys from Florida, guys from up north. And we all just kind of came together, man, and we just competed with one another. And before you know it, the scholarships just started to come in. Guys started to take academics a lot more serious. Right. And, before I knew it, I had, 20, 25 scholarships from all the big-time schools.
Wow. So here we go. A guy with no scholarship offers in high school ends up going JUCO, getting 20-plus scholarship offers from all over. Ended up signing with South Carolina. Why South Carolina over Clemson? Did Clemson come calling? What did that work out?
Clemson really wasn't a big JUCO team, big on JUCO guys. They'll go more the prep school route. So if you look at a lot of their recruits, you get a lot of guys that went to Georgia Military, Hargraves, Fort Union, and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So, South Carolina at that time, man, they was just losing Dante Robinson. Mm-hmm. He just got drafted the year before. And, Florida was real big on me. Florida just lost Keywan Rattler. They had him, Gus Scott. So those are my main two options, as well as Arkansas, because at that same time, they were losing Batman, Ahmad Carroll.
Yep.
Auburn, they was just losing Auburn offered me. They was losing Carlos Rogers, and all those guys are part of that same draft class. So for me, it was about just being close back to home. I had just had a son that was 1 year old at the time, so I just wanted to be back home. And, you can't never guarantee anybody anything, but, they gave me the best option and the best choice that I'd be able to get on the field as soon as possible. And, from day one when I stepped on campus, I was a starter.
And that's what you want. You want somebody that's going to be honest and trustworthy whenever you're looking to sign to whatever school. A lot of people go for the glamour. They go for the glitz, the organ, the uniforms. A lot of people go for, different things, but you want to find somebody that you can trust, an organization, a university that like they're going to tell you the truth. The reason I went to Vanderbilt, they literally told me, man, you can play whatever position you want. That was it. I was like, so I'm coming to Vanderbilt. Like, I'm not going to Notre Dame where I may play safety or corner and then transition to running back. No, man, like I need something like concrete to understand, like, this is what I'm going to be focused on. This is all I need to know. I'm going to learn the offensive playbook, and then everything else work from there. Because when you go to some of these other schools, like, you see guys bounce around, and then now with the transfer portal, guys are just leaving school now, and they're able to play that next year. But you play, you do your thing, and you go out, and you just kill the combine, man. I remember watching you run the 40. I was saying to myself, I wonder how fast he's going to run, right? Because anytime you play against a guy like like you and Cole and Joe Bennett, and so it's just like, I'm going to watch you guys at the combine, and I watch you run. I'm like, yo, you ran a 4.3. That's crazy. Like, preparing for the combine, what was like your main area of focus? Because some guys go in for strength, some for speed. Like, everybody got different read. Did you know that you were already going to run that 4.3, or was this like your main area of focus?
Honestly, like, when I was in junior college at Coffeyville, I was running a 4.3. Got to South Carolina, I was running a 4.3. And the whole time we was training, it was me and Tim Jennings. We trained together. Willie Reed that played at Florida State. Yep. We was running consistently 4.2s every day, 4.25, 4.24. So, we just had a big thing to compete every day who wanted to run the fastest time. And, when I was at South Carolina, I ran like a 4.33, 4.32, so it was somewhere close. And I went to the combine. I just wanted to prove everybody that I was able to go out there and compete with the guys, because I only played about 12 Division I games. Yeah. And, I came out early, and there's a lot of questions about, am I going to be able to adjust to the speed of the NFL and things like that. Right. So, I wanted to go out and show him that I was more than just a guy that was going out and rely on his speed and stuff. So I killed all the, I wanted to make sure I killed all the position drills. And then on top of that, I wanted to go in there and nail the Wonderlic down also and show that, I had a high football IQ.
Right. Man, well, you did that. I'm just gonna be honest. Like, you did that. I was sitting there watching it like, yeah, he just moved up in the draft very, very far. Did you expect to be drafted in the first round? And if so, did you expect to be drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals?
Nah, not at all, man. Because, in college, it's a funny thing. Like, in college, we had Kenny McKinley, rest in peace to him also, Sidney Rice. Jared Cook was actually a tight end at the time. So we had a lot of great battles in practice. And, a lot of those guys had the names and stuff. But, I was able to go against those guys. And I wouldn't say dominate, but I won, more than my share of battles, predominantly most of those battles. And then to go up against a guy like you at Vanderbilt, we going on film to watch. Man, who is this guy catching 12, 13 passes a game? You know what I'm saying? So, I remember going up against Brandon Marshall, Central Florida and all those guys. So just compete. And knowing you're going against a lot of guys that's already NFL ready, it just kind of gave me the confidence to know that I'm able to do it at the next level.
Man, that's dope. Well, you going on year 14 now?
Yeah, man, year 14, man. I don't know who counting, but it's year 14.
How's the body feeling, man? Yeah.
Man, it's good, man. The crazy thing, I think I haven't had surgeries the past 2 off season. That's big for me.
Big.
I've been able to focus on other things, I read something years ago that said you lose pretty much a lot of your flexibility, 10%, every year. So it was small things that I always want to just stay on top of, whether it's just, continue to keep the pop in my legs, making sure my hips don't get tight on me, make sure I'm still be able to be flexible and bend. Yeah. And at the end of the day, in this league now, you got to be able to run, man. So just keeping them legs strong, man, and just, continue to go out there and train. A guy like Chris Hope, who I always looked up to, back from Rock Hill, who's a big-time athlete, played in NFL, Super Bowl champion, national championship. He showed me at an early age how to go out there and work, whether you're with a group of guys or by yourself. And I just always kept that mentality to where I can go out there on the track and get it in by myself. I can go to Lifetime Fitness and get it in by myself. Yeah. Or I can go with a group of guys in a workout format and get it in the same way.
Yeah. Hey, that's dope. Hey, to get it in by yourself, to get it in with a group of guys, that's insane. The 2019 NFL season is upon us. But you guys lost some key players in the secondary. Lost Tyrann Mathieu. You lost my guy Kareem Jackson, Andre Howe.
No doubt, man.
K-Jack TV. There we go. How are you guys going to piece the puzzle back together with losing some crucial guys like that, like of that magnitude?
It's always tough, man, and every year is different, man. When you lose a guy like K-Jack, that just, hits the team different because he's been here so long. They drafted him, what he means to the city. Mm-hmm. And then you have a guy like Tyrann, who's, a big name guy, came in and had a great year. Mm-hmm. And things like that was a natural lead in the locker room people can kind of gravitate to. Right. And then you have a guy like Andre Howe who retired, much respect to him, to where everybody knew what Dre meant to that team because, he always got the Workout Warrior Awards in the offseason. He always led by example. And he's always one of those guys you can look up to, whether you're an older guy or younger guy. Right. When you have things like that hit the locker room, it gives you a little shock value a little bit. Yeah. But at the same time, you have to understand and sit back. It's a business and things like that happen. So, I think the team did a good job going out and trying to get guys to come in and fill the voids that we had. Right. I think you look at a guy like Gip coming in from Jacksonville who played at a high level. Yep. You look at a guy like Roby, first-round pick, talented guy that played a lot of good football, been on a Super Bowl winning team. Mm-hmm. So you look at a guy like Buddy Calhoun, played in Cleveland. He's a former Coffeyville guy. I didn't even know that till the other day. So the more you can, add pieces in and things like that, it's hard to compare apples to apples and guys to guys. You never want to do that. So at the same time, you want to give those guys a fresh start and let those guys come in and make their way also. Yeah.
Well, man, I'm excited. I feel like I'm a Texan now. I've been living in the state for 5 years. My son and I, we come watch the game, watch you guys, do your thing. I actually sat by your wife at the game. They was excited, your son. It was just real cool, man, to be in that atmosphere and to see how Texans fans really enjoy and embrace you guys. You guys did a phenomenal job last season getting to the playoffs. Looking forward to you guys, pushing a little bit further this year, man, because you do have some guys offensively that can make it happen. Defensively, I mean, their front four, the linebackers, those guys are just doing their thing. And the secondary, you've been a cornerstone for 14, you've been there, 6, 7 years now?
This will be year number 9 being in Houston.
Number 9 in Houston. Oh, man, that's crazy. Time is flying. But Prostyle looks at the symmetry between hip-hop and sports. So we got to transition a little bit now.
Cool.
Who was your favorite artist?
My favorite artist growing up, I listened to a lot of Tupac. When I was younger, Tupac was one of my favorite artists. And then I transitioned into, when Jeezy hit the scene real strong. Yeah. I instantly became, Can't Ban the Snowman, so that was the biggest thing. Can't Ban the Snowman. I just looked at the movement he had and what he meant to the people. and, you know, just what he was saying in his rhymes and his things, you know, I seen a lot of that in my daily life growing up. And I was easy to, you know, kind of, you know, see some of that, you know, in a movie style, in my vision and things like that.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I just always continue to listen to him even before games, man. I still throw on that I love it, man. You know, ride till you die. You know,
hey,
that was just my favorite artist.
101 was hard, man. Like you got to give Jesus props. During that era, he really had control of the game. He was doing a phenomenal job. I mean, when you just look at his rhyme, his lyrics, his rhyme and scheme, his pattern, he was one of those guys that you just put on and you just, hey, you know, when he come in, hey, I used to hit your kitchen lights, cockroaches
everywhere. You already know it.
You can really relate to those things, you know, being in poverty, coming out the hood, and you just put it on. You just like, yeah, man, like this used to be me. Now I hit the lights and there's marble floors everywhere, right? So being able to understand like where he came from as a hip hop artist and where you came from as a football player, that's one of the symmetry that I love to talk about, you know, on Prostyle, because it's the truth. You know, that's what happens for most guys, not all guys, but for most and some guys, that is the life that you go from poverty to, you know, being in the upper echelon in terms of finances. And so what was the last concert you attended?
The last concert, actually, man, I went to a Moneybagg Yo concert at the House of Blues a couple of weeks ago in Houston, man. Moneybagg, man. He one of those nice new and I wouldn't say up and coming, man, but, you know, like I said, he rap about a lot of the things that I can see and that I've been through before and that, you know, I seen coming and growing up. And I just like that he's creative and he found his own lane. And, you know, I'm always in the hip hop, man. So anytime I have a chance, you know, to go out there and see those guys, you know, of course, at the House of Blues, they got a nice little setup over there. So, you know, it was just good for me, man. And I'm actually thinking about taking my son this Friday down in Charlotte to go see Lil Baby.
Nice. Yeah. No, Moneybagg Yo and Lil Baby, those two are on repeat on my phone right now because, you know, that Pure Cocaine by Lil Baby, that's a pretty good song, man. You know what I mean? Like Crush a Lot. Those like those songs are he's doing his thing for sure, man. So what artist would you say resembles your play on the field? So if you had to choose an artist. So for me, I picked J. Cole, just the fundamental aspects of J. Cole, you know, his ability to not deviate from, you know, who he is as a player and to really just continue to push the envelope on focusing on himself and getting better. What's that one artist that you would choose?
I think Jeezy, man. I think Jeezy. And I say that, you know, not just because I say that's my favorite artist, but a standpoint, I watched his career continue to grow over time. And he continued to stick to what got him there and never really cross and change over as much. And he was able to adapt with times. You know, you look at me as an older player in the league, the way the league has changed from back then, a running league into a passing league now. And he's able to, you know, sustain that success. You know, with his last album that came out, you know, a year ago, he was still able to have some success there and still be able to be relevant this long in the game. Yeah.
So, hey, man, last question. You ain't planning on retiring no time soon, right? You got to keep holding it down for guys like me, right?
Man, no doubt, man. You know, I take it 1 year at a time, man. And I never really talk about retirement and things because I think the more you let those thoughts creep into your mind, then your body will start to react to those thoughts.
Yes, sir.
So for me, you know, I just continue to look at it, take it 1 day at a time, man, and just hit the field and just give it all I got. And at the end of the day, when my time comes, I'll be the first to admit it.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Well, hey, man, it's been good catching up with you, man. For sure.
No doubt, man. No doubt, man. We got to link up.
Success. Oh, yeah, most definitely. Wish you continued success. Looking forward to coming to a lot of games this season, man. I know y'all got some great things that y'all going to be doing on the field. But how can the people follow you on social media?
You know, I'm on Instagram. It's the real JJo24. I actually have a Twitter too, but I'm not big into Twitter. I probably send out maybe 5 tweets in my life. It's one of those things, you know. It's just I never really just got caught up in it too much because you look at social media nowadays, it kind of controls people's lives. You know, it make people be quick to judge, you know, whether it's fact or fiction and things like that. So I look from it from afar, but at the same time, I don't get caught up in it and try to base my life around it.
Yes, sir. Well, hey, man, I appreciate you rocking out with us on Prostyle Podcast, bro.
No doubt, man. Thank you, EB, man. Much power to you, bro.
Hey, man, all day. Appreciate it.
No doubt.